Hi everybody, it's Sheree from the library, and today's video is all about my favorite chapter books of 2021. A lot of you know, because we've talked about it before, that awards are going to be given to the best books of 2021. They come out next week, and it will include the Caldecott, which is for the best illustrations in a children's book, as well as the Newbery, which is given to the best writing story in a children's book. So I already did a video on picture books. You're welcome to look that up. This one is about great chapter books from 2021. And some of these I have talked to you about in classrooms and online before, but I had to bring them back because they were my favorites out of the whole year. I don't know if they'll be the top 10 or award winners, but I can guarantee you that every one of them is great. This is Alone. Many of you have heard me talk about this book. This is a novel in verse, so keep in mind if you don't like page after page after page of the story, this one reads really fast. And it's about a girl who makes a plan with her friends to sneak off and spend the night at her grandparents' empty apartments. When her friends get found out and in trouble and can't come, she sneaks over there anyways. And in the middle of the night, wakes up to a lot of noise and a lot of lights. She can't really figure out what's going on. She goes back to sleep figuring that she'll just figure it out in the morning. But when she wakes up in the morning, she is all alone. Everyone is gone. She doesn't know why. She doesn't know where. She only knows to wait and hope that her parents come back for her. But as time goes on and on, months begin to pass, years begin to pass, and she has to find a way to stay alive and keep herself safe. In a time where we all are feeling really alone, and some of us have been separated by isolation or virtual learning, this girl is really all alone. No school, no teacher, no family, no friends, and that is something I was amazed that she survived it as well as she does. This is Stunt Boy. This is also the story of someone who is dealing with something pretty tough. Stunt Boy is the story of a boy who has a lot of anxiety. He worries a lot about himself and his family, and when he really finds his worries getting to be too much, he needs a superhero. So he decides to start writing and drawing a story about Stunt Boy, a kid who does all kinds of amazing stunts and is always brave, so he can always use Stunt Boy's help. This is a book, if some of you are fans of like Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Dog Man, you can see that while there's writing in here, there's a lot of pictures, there's a lot of illustration, there's a lot of cool looking excerpts from the Stunt Boy comics. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, kind of funny, kind of brave, there's Stunt Boy. Now, some of you may have read a lot of years ago, Out of My Mind. This is a book that's been around for a while. It's about Melody, who is a really brilliant kid. She has a photographic mind, but she can't talk. She can't express herself. She has an illness that makes it impossible for her to control her muscles and be able to speak. When someone finally figures out a way for Melody to share what she's thinking, her whole life opens up and begins to change. In some ways, it's as wonderful as she ever imagined, being able to communicate and participate, but in some ways she still feels left out and left behind. So this is her story as she struggles to figure out how to fit in. I was so excited. I loved this book so much, Out of My Mind, that this year, Out of My Heart picks up Melody's story where this one left off and takes it even further. So if you've read the first one, Out of My Mind, Out of My Heart will make you so happy that the story goes on. If you haven't read either one, start with this one and then get this one that was published this year. I also want to talk for a little bit about The Shape of Thunder. This is about two friends who are no longer friends because one of them, her brother, has caused terrible harm and killed the other friend's brother. And the two of them no longer speak. But as they get through going through the school year, one of them wants to make up this terrible, terrible rift between them. The other one isn't sure what to do. And the way they figure out how to cope with what's happening to them is as amazing as their story. I think that one's got a lot of prize winning chances. Some of you may have heard me talk about Pony. This is by R.J. Palacio, who is the author of Wonder. A lot of you have read that book. This one is very different from Wonder. It's about a boy who can see ghosts, and it takes place a long time ago in the West. So it's sort of a cowboy story. It's sort of a ghost story. There's also this horse, Pony, who figures into the story when some bad guys come and kidnap this boy's father. He decides he has to go looking for him and try to save him. And it's the story of what happens to him that just, I couldn't put this book down. I had to keep reading to get to the end of it. One of my favorite kind of funny books this year was Starfish. It's about a girl, I always forget their main character's name, Ellie. Ellie is a little bit overweight, and her mom every so often tries to get her to eat more healthy, to do the things that she thinks so Ellie can look better. But her dad wants her to just be who she is, which is a terrific person. So this is the story of Ellie trying to figure out who she wants to be, how she's going to deal with her parents. You can see it's not a really long book, but it's a really funny but also powerful book. And I think I talked to some of you about The One Thing You'd Save. This is a really skinny book, but it's about a class where the teacher gives an assignment to ask the kids, what one thing would you save if there was a fire? Now, not people and not pets, everybody's safe, but what one thing? And at first, some of the kids are all about their possessions, their Xbox or their favorite comic book. But some of the kids say things like they would save their mom's medicine because she needs it every day, or something special that another relative gave to them to remember them by. So I love the book itself, but I also love all the conversation that starts if you talk about that with your family or your friends or your classroom. So that's The One Thing You Would Save by Linda Park. Now, the one book I have to admit I did not want to read this year. It's called The Beatrice Prophecy. It's by Kate DiCamillo. If you like Mercy Watson, this is her. If you like Because of Winn-Dixie, that's a Kate DiCamillo. I should have trusted that Kate DiCamillo is such a wonderful author. I would love the book. But every time I looked at it or I thought about it, I thought that is not for me. I judged the book by its cover and it just seemed weird and I didn't want any part of it. But when people started talking so much about it and how great it was, I thought, okay, I'll give it a chance. And you guys, it is terrific. It's a very weird story about a kid who is discovered by a monk, and the monk takes the kid in because they don't seem to be able to talk. They don't know where they came from. They don't know what happened. And where this particular monk lives, there's a very problematic goat. This goat is angry. This goat takes its anger out on the monks a lot by butting heads, but the goat becomes extremely protective of this kid. And what happens to them, what the kid's story is, what the journey is between the kid and the goat. You will laugh at this book. There's adventure in this book. There's magic in this book. There were so many incredible things. It may be my #1 book of the year. I should have trusted Ms. DiCamillo. But in one part, somebody is being taught how to read and they're teaching them how to spell. And as soon as they start to spell, it says, he watched the letters appear one by one beneath her hand, and he felt as if each letter were a door pushed open inside of him, a door that led to a lighted room. The world, said Beatrice to Jack Dory, can be spelled. And that just blew me away, because in all these books, because all these worlds can be spelled, you can learn about monks with crazy goat situations. You can learn about kids in a fire, kids struggling with their image, a ghost pony out west story, kids who are struggling with disabilities, a guy who invents a superhero. All of these worlds can come to you because they can all be spelled. So you guys, those are just some of my favorite books for the year. I hope that you check back with us to see what the award winners were. I hope that some of these are chosen because they were all so great, but I also hope you find what you love the most. Thanks so much. I'll see you later. Bye.